Catherine Ham, Brian Wilson, Brian Neiman, today's newsmakers, and you. The Morning Majority, 630.
WMAL.
7:37 Morning Majority. Larry Gatlin, Larry Kudlow. The Larry's coming up in the 8 o'clock hour. Pleased to be joined now by Jake Tapper, senior White House correspondent for ABC News. So, Jake, the president held another press conference yesterday to talk about the debt negotiations. Did we learn anything new in yesterday's little chit-chat?
I didn't, but probably some of the public did. The president reiterated some of his goals in terms of whatever bill is sent to him, it needs to be long-term. He'll veto anything that is short-term in terms of raising the debt ceiling. It needs to at least reach into 2013. And he obviously is carving a path for himself where he is trying to appeal to independent voters, talking about how he's trying to get both Democrats and Republicans to take on sacred cows.
Is it pretty simple that it comes down to taxes? Republicans don't want to raise taxes, and the president and Democrats want some taxes raised?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's right. The Eric Cantor, the House Majority Leader, yesterday in the meeting outlined his view of what they had agreed upon and what there is some consensus about in the Biden-led negotiations. And it amounted to about $1.7 trillion in spending cuts over the next 10 years. And that falls short of the Republicans' own goal, which is if you're going to raise the debt ceiling by $2.4 trillion, which would get you until about February or March 2013, it needs to be matched dollar for dollar by that much deficit reduction. So 1.7 obviously is not 2.4. So there's a chasm there. President Obama's argument is that you can't do it without revenues. Steny Hoyer, the House Minority Leader, the Assistant Minority Leader, said to Eric Cantor, you won't get one Democratic vote for that,
right?
Because it doesn't have any tax increases. And President Obama said, you can't expect seniors to give up $500 if you're not even asking for $5 from people like me, meaning wealthier individuals.
Well, the president seems to have changed his tune several times along the way. He wanted a clean debt ceiling vote, and now it's the time to do something big. Back when the Deficit Commission came out and his budget came out, it was not the time to do something big. Is there the chance that he just shifts his message again before and they come to a deal?
I mean, there's always a chance that the message will change. I mean, I think ultimately we are really in a crunch time now, and I don't think there's any congressional leader who disagrees with the idea that this needs to be resolved in the next couple weeks so that they can write the legislation and pass it and have this all resolved by August 2nd. I guess, there could be a message that changes. I mean, ultimately, if the Republicans do not give at all on tax increases or any new revenues,
right,
and the Democrats ultimately have to come up with ultimately have to vote for a bill that is just spending cuts, then I suppose the president will change his message to we have to do what we have to do to avoid economic catastrophe. It does seem like the two ultimatums that the Republicans are given, and obviously Obama's giving his as well, but the two ultimatums of it has to be a dollar-for-dollar match between deficit reduction and raising the debt ceiling, and there can't be any new revenues, any new tax increases, does put everybody in a very difficult situation where it's tough to get to the 2.4 trillion number.
You know, Jake, I've been around this town like you have been for a number of years. I don't recall a time where the two sides are dug in so deeply and are taking sort of inflexible positions. I mean, it's my observation that the House Republicans they're ready to go to absolute Armageddon over this thing, that they're not going to budge on the issue of taxes. How firm is the White House position? How entrenched are they in their position? And does that ultimately mean that if neither side moves to some sort of compromise, that we actually might have, a time and a place when the debt ceiling runs out?
It seems difficult to imagine, because you imagine that the president would if it came down to avoiding a crisis, he would sign a short-term measure, even though he says he won't, and he'd veto it. I have to say, in terms of vote counting, the argument from President Obama and from Steny Hoyer and others is, John Boehner, the Speaker of the House, cannot pass anything with just Republican votes. This is a different negotiation than the one when they were trying to prevent the government from halting, prevent a government shutdown. There are dozens, if not more than 100, Republicans who will not vote to raise the debt ceiling, period. So he needs Democratic votes. And Democrats are saying that they will not vote for a deficit reduction measure that isn't, in their view, quote-unquote, balanced, meaning, yes, there can be spending cuts, but there also need to be tax increases as well. And I just don't understand how how this negotiation continues if they will not, if the Republicans, in order to win those Democratic votes that they need in the House, to say nothing of the Senate, which is controlled by Democrats, aren't willing to put things in there that the Democrats will vote for.
Jake,
just as a matter of vote counting, I don't understand how that math works.
Jake, I wanted to ask you a little bit about Syria. Quick preface: there's been all this unrest. The sort of regime there cracking down, Assad cracking down, killing a bunch of people, and then pro-government protesters actually attacked the U.S. embassy yesterday and broke some windows. What's the response from the White House on this, and what does it mean for the Syria situation going forward?
I don't believe that the White House has officially given a statement yet. I might be wrong about that, but I don't think they've given a statement. But the ambassador to Syria, Richard Ford, has put a statement up in which he talked about the irony of pro-government protesters attacking the U.S. embassy when that same government won't let anti-government protesters express their point of view and rallies. That situation seems to be deteriorating rapidly.
Has there been an administration or a State Department official shift on Assad and our position on him?
From when he was considered
a reformer, yes.
I don't think he's considered a reformer anymore.
Hopefully we'll hear more about that.
Yeah. Was there a press release put out on that, the change of the reformer? All right, Jake, good to talk to you as always. We appreciate your time.
All right, thank you, guys.
Jake Tapper, Senior White House Correspondent for ABC.